Alright everybody, so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the ideal key build for your stats in DBOG. Now if you're a melee build, I still recommend you watch this video, and then go to the description because shout out to Ryukoi, who's been helping me with this video. He, on his channel, is going to have the melee version of this video on his channel. So go ahead and check that video out once you're done with this video. Me and Koi spent like hours upon hours yesterday just like testing the stats, I wasted so much Robux, man, just trying to like figure out like how the stats actually work. Go check out his channel and everything like that. Alright, so the stats you're gonna want to do for a key build like slot or character or race or whatever it is, you're gonna just straight up, you're just gonna want to do key damage. Yeah, I know, very shocking, but let me explain why. So I actually do recommend you do 300 into key control, because there's actually a secret passive in the game where if you have 300 key control, as you can see here, if I go ahead and charge up to my ult, I use my ult, you can see I still have my yellow bar of key. And now that's because I have 300 key control. Koi, do you want to just charge your ult and do it? So you don't have 300 key control, you have none.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's do Hell Zone Grenade, the move that got chopped cheesed.
Yeah, it took all your key away. So that's the difference really between 300 key control and no key control. I do value that, especially as a key build, because key builds are mostly about spamming ultimates in PvE. So you're gonna want the 300 key control. It's gonna save you so much time. Trust me. It's gonna save your butt. So number one, that is the most important stat, is you get 300 key control. Now, some people might say, well, why don't I just do like a 1000 key control? Don't do that. That is completely useless, and I'll tell you why. So I've been testing all day with Koi here, and in my findings, I found that 1k key control gives you roughly 33 and a third key. Now, if you don't know how much that is, the new Buu Saga moves actually take about 25. So as you can see, Spread Finger Beam is a Buu Saga move. Majin Kamehameha, probably one of the most famous Buu Saga moves, takes 25. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how much 25 actually is by using it here. So as you can see, that is 25 key. And I only have 300 key control. So that's 300 key control is giving me I couldn't even like 10 key. It's giving me like 10 key. That's it. That is not worth it. Now you could use lower level Saga moves. So like for example, if I just hit Koi here with a quick Majin Kamehameha, that does 13k. Now if I use, what is like a beam from like the Cell Saga? Revenger Cannon. Yeah. I'll try Revenger Cannon just to be fair. Yes, it still does significantly less. That was almost 6k. Majin Kamehameha does 13k, so over double. But again, it's taking 10 more key, which is equivalent to like 300 stats in the key control. So that is why key control is important to get the 300, but do not do more than 300. Like, actually don't do more than 300. And then if you're curious, my build here that I'm showing right now is incorrect. I'm going to reset this. Don't put anything to agility. Even as a melee build, I don't recommend you put anything to agility. So I'm sure as hell removing this 150 agility I have on my Majin. It is awful. Agility is a useless stat. And if you want to know why, I recommend you go watch Koi's video. I talk about it more there with him. Link in the description. So now, on to health and key damage. So in my findings, really, I found that bumping about 1k health output gives you 30,000 damage worth of HP. So that might not sound like a lot to you, probably because it's really not. But in comparison to what 1k key damage will give you, so for example, Lovely Crusher, and then if you put 1k into the key damage, it bumps it to 4,709. So that's about a 1,200 increase, which really isn't that much. It's about an 1,100 increase, I should say. It's not that much. I don't I don't really think the value for damage is as high as it is for HP. But keep in mind, you're a key build. Your main goal is to be stun locking the opponent with your key moves and not taking hits anyway. So how do you maximize this? Now, I gave you guys the facts on the stats. I did not give you an opinion. I'm just going to keep on giving you the facts. So, the fact is, if you are good at avoiding taking damage, and you are designing your moveset around not taking damage, then you can do more key damage than health. If you're a key build that likes to, you know, get his hands dirty, I do recommend you do more health then. I recommend you have a minimum of 1,000 health. I think, like, that is the bare minimum that anyone should really have. Kinda no matter what build you are, but sometimes you're gonna do a gimmick build, which is fine. 1,000 is 1,000 health a lot of health? No, it is not a lot of health in this update. Closer to 2,000 health is like is like the point where you're hitting like decent health, and like that's sad that you need to do 2,000 output to even have decent health considered. So, in my opinion, it just kind of depends on you. Are you PvPing? Are you PvEing, right? If you're PvP, maybe you're doing a little bit more health. It just depends on your playstyle. Are you meleeing a little? PvP, maybe you're doing a little bit more health. It just depends on your playstyle. Are you meleeing a little bit as your key build, or are you straight key build, straight spamming supers and ultimates, right? Like androids, for example. Are you straight doing super, 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 super? If so, you might want to prioritize the key damage over the health. But either way, that's the facts, right? I recommend you do 300 key control. Whatever amount you think is appropriate for health, between 1,000 and however many, and then the rest in the key damage. That is the goal for key users. Now, you might be thinking physical damage. What about it? So, in my opinion, physical damage doesn't really matter as much, even as a key build in the new update, because leveling up is going to give you the physical damage that you need to be able to even, like, keep up. Like, it'll give you enough. Does it give you a lot? No. But you'll have enough to at least be able, if you're using a strong fighting style like Kid Buu for PvE, lower level, I recommend, like, Nam, Master Roshi, maybe even Piccolo's fighting style. Those are, like, pretty good lower level ones. But once you get high level, Kid Buu is the best for PvE. That shreds the boss's defense bar. And then that's going to help you land guaranteed hits on this boss with your key moves. But again, you might be the type of player who just charges up your ultimate, fires an ultimate, and then again, and trying to keep the boss stun locked. And the only thing I can recommend for that is you have 1 or 2 stun moves on your moveset. So I have Light Pulse, and I also have Time Bullet. These are 2 stun moves that are really good. You can use the Ki moves, you can use, Time Bullet is a Game Pass move, so you can use Light Pulse and Light Absorber. Light Absorber is a beam that kind of does the same thing, and it gives you Ki back, so it's pretty good. I'll go ahead and show that real quick. Light Absorber. So this is Light Absorber. As you can see, it gives me more Ki back than I had before I used it, and it stuns them for quite a long time. So this is great for keeping the control in the fight against a PvE enemy, and if you're in a PvP scenario, you can use a Time Bullet to catch your opponent off guard, and then start charging up to get some of your Ki back if you're not an android, for example. If you're an android, it's just going to buy you time to probably just hit a, like, insane amount of damage on your opponent. Let me think, is there anything else I need to really cover here?
Psychic Spark.
Psychic Spark, yeah, you're right, that is another one. That's another free, blast that can just stun, and it only takes 5 Ki as well. So really good. Let me just show off. So that's... Oh, you need to hold Psychic Spark, I believe.
No. It's an instant cast.
Yeah, but it doesn't... It's not
cheap.
Stunning you, though. I think it's because
you have to be close. Okay. It's a close range one.
So Psychic Spark only works when you're close? Okay.
Yeah, but you get so much time. Look at how long the stun is on this one.
Yeah,
that's like last second if someone gets too close.
Yeah, okay. So Psychic Spark is like a close-up one. If again, it's free, and like free as in you don't pay Robux, and you don't, you know, it doesn't take a lot of Ki. So that's like another option for you guys. Really, like, other than that, when you're leveling up, I feel like I touched on PvP enough. From there, your moves don't really matter. Just make sure you have a way to knock them back and a way to buy yourself time. So like I said, buy yourself time would be stuff like Light Pulse, um, time bullet, you know, stuff like that. Knocking them back, Key Finger Shock is a good one. Dragon Rush you can use, or like any fast version of Dragon Rush, Death Chaser, stuff like that. And then even just throwing a random blast, if it can connect, it can buy you time for sure. And then which one you use is just completely dependent on you. Do you want to use one that takes less ki and does less damage, or do you want to use one that takes more ki and does more damage? It just depends on you. Again, I wouldn't go above 300 ki control, so keep that in mind. Maybe you want to find the middle ground. Maybe use Android Sagas or Space Saga moves instead of all Buu Saga moves. But again, the Buu Saga moves on average are doing more damage. So it just depends how much do you value the percent damage you're getting versus the amount of ki it's taking. Because it's not so bread and butter. It's not exactly this move takes 10 ki, this move takes 20 ki, the one that's taking 20 ki is doing double. That's not exactly how it works. In some cases it is, but again, just do your own testing really. I can't test every move in the game for you in one video. I've given a lot of examples as to what moves I recommend you using. From there, fill out your moveset with the moves you like, what moves work for you. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be playing differently than me, most likely. And then the last little thing I want to touch on is the PvE side of things with leveling up. So if you're level 100 or level not even started the game yet, or you're level 200 or 300, you're stuck somewhere. Koi, what do you really recommend? Where do the bosses start getting higher difficulty, and what order do you recommend putting your stats in? Do you go ki control first to get that ultimate? Do you just do straight damage at the start, or do you do health at the start? What are you doing?
So at the beginning of the game, you really don't need to focus on like putting any real stats in, because you're going to be doing more than enough damage in the Earth Saga and more than enough damage in the Namekian Saga. The only issue is that you do want to get that 300 ki control as soon as you can, so you could actually start spamming ultimates. There's some very fantastic ultimates in the early game, such as Mercenary Tao's Blast, that actually ultimate attack does way too much damage. Might be nerfed, but we'll have to see what happens with that. If you're a Kai, obviously trying to get a key blade is probably going to be the most important thing for you. And if you are anywhere around that, like Freezer Race or anything like that, and sorry, they don't give keyblades out to you guys. But besides that, once you get to Space Saga, you're pretty much going to be dumping the rest of your points into doing as much damage as possible, getting as many good attacks as you can. From Android Saga, Space Saga, there's some fantastic ones like, I would say like Perfect Spirit Bomb, which you get from the raids, and probably as many stun moves as you could pick up, definitely the Sparks. And when do you get Light Pulse?
I believe that's a Buu Saga move. I believe.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can really do with whenever it comes down to that. So what I would recommend though is a couple blasts would actually do you some justice for long range attacks.
Blasts
because
are awesome,
there are some blasts in the game. We have like you have Murder Grenade, you have Crusher Ball, some stuff that really just gets them away from you, and that's good enough. You know what I mean? It's like a blow away, and then you can focus on charging up your ultimate again, and then doing that. Once you get to that point, then you're totally fine, because you'll get the end game moves that are just going to be much more useful to you, and especially just focusing on the meta. And it's the way that it's set up for right now, because the game is totally going to get changed whenever it comes down to skills. They barely just finished testing all the rushes, so as of this moment, rushes are balanced, technically. Quotations, because obviously balanced is, we'll see what happens. But key moves are up for the next balance change, so everything could be subject to change whenever it comes down to damage-wise. So just pay attention to what's your next best move. Make sure you actually get your forms and max out your forms, because you want to do as much damage as possible, as consistently as possible without dying. All right, that's it.
Yeah, I do agree.
Wait. Sorry, there's one last thing. Fast launch fighting styles. That's very important. Fast launch fighting styles.
So
you want to go over that?
So fighting styles that knock back very quickly? you mean? So do you want to...
Super fast fighting styles that instantly knock them in the air, such as like SSJ Gogeta, early Goku. Even Super Saiyan 2 Goku can still do that. There's a lot of good ones that are just super fast that get you in the air get your opponent in the air as fast as possible. So pretty much spam ultimate attacks or whatever you can.
And then also just remember you can charge your M1 to knock people away as well. So as a key build, I would utilize that as much as you can. From there, I really don't have much else to say. So it sounds like when you first start the game, key control is probably the best way to go because your base stats from leveling up are gonna give you enough damage as it is to get through, you know, those first few bosses that you're gonna... those first few walls, quote unquote, even though not many of them seem to be very wall-like. And then from there, it's just sort of what you want to do. Do you want to do health or key damage? Because again, you don't want to go more than 300 key control. You don't want to do anything to agility. And if you're a straight key build, you don't really want to do much of anything in the physical damage. I mean, it won't hurt, I guess, but I just feel like HP is just... anything that you would be putting in the physical damage, I feel like putting in the HP would just be more worth it. Because, again, if you're gonna be boxing people, you're gonna need the HP to be able to take hits. And so, at the end of the day, I feel like that is gonna be more valuable than just doing your melee damage, because, you know, you're not really boxing them to do damage with your melee attacks, you're doing that to set up for your key moves, and those are gonna do the damage. Other than that, not really too much else to say. I do want to mention the fact that if you are worried about the specific race you are, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Stats, like the skill points that you earn for leveling up, so you get 5 every time you level up, they are so insignificant at this moment that you could be a Frieza and you can go straight melee and it like barely matters. It barely matters. Like, I'm serious. Like, you can just kind of do whatever you want to do. Now, I do recommend not doing a melee Frieza because their race ability favors key. That's what I would pay attention to. Pay attention to your race ability. So, for example, if you're a full-blooded Saiyan, I recommend you go melee, even though, you know, you can do either. And for my Saiyan, I actually do melee with a slight key. Like, I put some key damage in because I like to do that. It's fun for me, and I find it very effective in PvP and in PvE because I can just use blasts at the end of my combos and get either free damage or bluff people into using an evasive. It works all the time. And then on top of that, I lost my train of thought. But anyway, it doesn't really matter what race you pick, because again, Hybrid Saiyan kind of favors Ki, so I would recommend you do Ki. But the stat build itself, the allocation, the output, that doesn't really matter. Like, just go whatever fits the race, is what I would say. The race ability, not the race stat output in the bottom right. Don't really worry about that right now. Like, yes, you're gonna get some more value out of following the stat build of the race, but you're gonna get an unbelievable amount more value if you follow the race ability. So for example, a Tuffle. Being a key Tuffle is so bad. Not because of your stat allocation, that doesn't really matter. The damage you're doing is not going to be much different than like a Frieza doing a key damage build. Now what is different is the fact that you're basically not even getting your race ability at that point. There's no point in picking that race, because you're not getting the part of the race that makes it unique. So yeah, that's about it for this video. I don't have much else to say. That is the key build guide. That's what I would put my stats into if you're a key build. That's how I would navigate through the game if you're a key build. And those are the fighting styles I recommend. Those are the moves I recommend. And yeah, have a good one, guys. Shout out to Koi. Thanks for the help, man.
Take it easy, dudes. Peace.